with the heavyweight champion of the world and in most people's eyes and in mine, number one pound for pound, Oleksandr Usyk. I actually think Inoue is the most talented fighter ability wise right now, but it's also about what you prove in the ring, and it's also about having a great IQ, which advantage to Usyk over a fighter like Inoue. Anyways, the pound for pound king and the heavyweight champ in a rematch against Daniel Dubois. You were there today as they faced off to kick off fight week. Take it away,
Yeah.
Raheem. What are you
I
thinking?
mean, I say because Usyk, we can't forget, is light at the weight. Fury trolls him by calling him the middleweight or
That
whatever the
face
fuck, the
middleweight.
rabbit, all this shit. But he's light at the weight, and when you say pound for pound, the fact that he's in that division with monsters, there is no better pound for pound division if there is such a thing that isn't an oxymoron than the heavyweight division because there's no weight. There's only a threshold at the bottom. He beats Joshua twice and Fury twice. The level of competition, the different styles, it's hard to say Usyk's not that guy. And you really kind of don't want to because for whatever reason, he's never been like a captivating superstar type of personality. And maybe as Americans, we prefer the big talk and the bravado and stuff. And that's not really him. But every fight, I think he finds a way to be a bit engaging. And this fight, I've seen more spite in him than in any fight. I think they have triggered the part of Usyk that's mean. Don Charles, and I'm not saying it isn't intentional. They've calculated that getting in his head is going to be a positive outcome for them. I know that as a fact because everything Don Charles does when an opponent is facing his fighter has a mental calculation for an advantage in the ring. Whether or not it plays out that way, of course, we is yet to be seen. Usyk does not seem mentally weak, but he is triggered by questioning his religion, his faith, his honesty. You saw him go at Don Charles's son, challenging him to like a 4-on-4 in the streets, which is way outside of Usyk's character. Sounds crazy. And to be fair, he kind of lost that exchange. George Fox, got after him with a good comeback. It's like, listen, Steve, keep it to boxing. In these streets, I'll gouge your eyeballs out and rip out your throat. It's
Which
like,
sounded good. I don't know if but I probably still got the heavyweight champion of the world over what was the fella's name again? Not that he looked like
George
nothing to mess
Fox.
with, but
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he made the clarification, like,
there's that and
boxing's
there's this.
boxing, and then this is that. So boxing skills ain't gonna help you, if the guy across the park is cheating, like if you coming out with whips and chains. However, my point being, Usyk right now is at the top of the heap. He is, I think, emotionally invested in this fight in the way that he hasn't been in previous fights. But the same is true for Dubois. In the face-off today, Dubois was shouting in Usyk's face because the team Usyk was shouting Usyk, and then Dubois started shouting Daniel by himself. His team wasn't shouting it. It was just him, and then he started shouting and still. That is a side of Dubois we haven't seen yet. And I don't know if it's confidence or if it is aggravation, but it is aggression. Whatever is the catalyst, he's going to be more aggressive in this fight than we've seen him. We know that that's his thing. I think he's going to
Needs
stick
to
the
be.
double jab.
He
Go
needs
ahead.
to be. No, he needs to be. Continue, yeah.
Right. He needs to maul Usyk. He needs to push Usyk around. He needs to tie Usyk up, push him off, and then pound. Like there is something to be said for just throwing all that ring smarts shit out the window and coming to beat the hell out of a guy who you're not going to outbox. And Dubois is not dumb. You can put together a game plan, and I know that that's the joke on him, but you put together a game plan for him, and as long as he stays focused on that, he's actually brilliant in the sense that he won't be focused. His mind won't wander. He won't start trying other shit. He will keep doing what he has been trained to do. And if Don Charles has put together the right game plan, Dubois' father is ringside reinforcing that that's what Dubois should keep doing, then that's his best shot at beating Usyk. Forget about boxing. Forget about trying to be clever in there. Go in there and go after him in a way that nobody has before. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But I think that's the best roll
Champ.
of the dice which is the
which is what Ben Davison was saying before he knocked out Anthony Joshua in his last.
right. I hate that phrase, which is why I use it. Boxing is not that type of gamble. But if you're coming up with a strategy, that's the one for Usyk for Dubois, I think.
Yeah, I'll jump off a few things you said, Raheem. To well, first of all, it's funny that I mentioned Inoue ability wise, and then we both agree that Usyk has earned the top spot by fighting men half a foot taller than himself and beating and all that. But he thinks it's Terrence Crawford, funny enough, right? So that speaks volumes of the respect he has for Bud Crawford, who is certainly still in the argument for number one pound for pound, just hasn't been as active as Inoue and Usyk. So that keeps him at number three on a lot of lists. To your point about how we're in agreement about he has to, and it's a juxtaposition when you're asking, is this out of character of Dubois, or you, I don't even think you said that. You're just questioning what the tactics are psychologically, the way he keeps antagonizing Usyk, and it's a juxtaposition with the guy that was the humble guy against Anthony Joshua, who played the, who do you think you are, talking to me like that, and now he's the guy. Now he's Joshua yeah. The roles have changed a little bit in that sense, but he has to find a way. So much easier said than done to fight downhill in this fight, and he
That's a
waited
good
on.
way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to find a way to fight downhill. That's behind that double jab. It's a lot harder to do it against Oleksandr Usyk than it is Anthony Joshua, but he waited on Usyk too much in the first fight. And we know his advantages in this fight. It's his physical strength, his punching power, and his youth. And it looks like I always loved what you called it, the fight before the fight, the round before the 12 rounds, right? Looks like he's approaching it trying to execute some of the stuff he has to execute in the ring to be successful in this fight, and that's go after Usyk, go after him, go after him, and you have to do it behind the double jab. You got to place your shots. You got to find the body. But Usyk, but one thing he may have done that's backfired is Usyk's 38. He's made all this money. He's seen the peak. He's human. At some point, there's got to be a little decompression, a little bit down from the peak he's been at. But Dubois tugged on Superman's cape. That's an old phrase in sports, and it only counts if the guy's actually Superman. If it's really Michael Jordan, and I think Usyk is that isn't Usyk has proven to us, both of us, I remember, had questions about him coming to heavyweight. If that style, if his bag would translate to the heavyweight division, we were both skeptical. And so what he's proven is, and he's been one of those guys who's had to prove it. People didn't just give it to him. He's proven to be an all-time great fighter. So Daniel Dubois is tugging on Superman's cape. And it's like, oh, you're almost 40. You've made all this money. Just in case you needed some motivation, I got you. And that's what I feel like he's given to him. I still got to favor Usyk because he's got the hand speed, the foot. Go ahead, Raheem. The hand speed,
Well,
foot speed, and the IQ, and the
it's
conditioning.
not that Usyk needs motivation. It's that Usyk runs off discipline. In fact, I think he runs off formulaic mindset and nothing is supposed to rattle him, right? Like he's just
East
executing the
European
science of
style.
mind
That
and
that's the
the
East European.
juggling and all the fucking wild shit that he does as part of training. It's all dexterity and balance and being able to think complex while doing what seems to be a simple task. So it's focus. If you can take him out of his focus, then you have won the first round. If you can make him angry and decide, and this is a big if, by the way, I haven't suggested that it's happened, but that's the play. Make him want to be more aggressive than he needs to be and less scientific than he's accustomed to being, then you might catch him. I think the Joshua thing where he was like, "You can't intimidate me," and they got up and Joshua was like, "Oh, I'll smash you up with this chair." And then in the corner during the fight, he told his corner, he's shit, and we're gonna roll the dice, right? He got in his mind that Dubois was dumb, that Dubois had no skills, that he was gonna teach this boy a lesson. And maybe in the crucial moment when he needed to think and settle down and just let the fight slow down a little bit and get handle on himself, he went more aggression instead of relaxing and thinking about what he needs to do next to make an adjustment. That moment in that decision might have been made at the face-off. That might have been the difference because we saw Joshua hit Dubois with a big right hand, And then he went with this huge open uppercut, which got him counterpunched. But if he had been more concise, if he had been calm in his mind, not trying to end the fight with some big show-stopping uppercut like he hit, you know what I'm saying, Klitschko with,
Yes.
then he may have, who knows, followed up on hurting Dubois, and we'd have an entirely different narrative. This is the game they're playing, talking about God, talking about him being a liar, saying that he was really knocked out with a body shot, that he was dogging it and cheating. All that stuff is to make him angry in a moment when he needs to be calm. If that works, Dubois does have the goods to capitalize. And Dubois is not the fighter that he was when Usyk faced him the last time. This guy, they keep saying, oh, you faced the boy and now you're facing the man. I think you faced a cub and now you're facing a lion. The confidence, the ability that he is sure that he has now, where he thought he had it before, the excellent training in Don Charles and the camp that they put themselves through this time, it just keeps escalating and getting better. So you're gonna face not just the best Dubois you've seen, but I think a different Dubois than any of us have seen. He believes, and for good reason. He's not gaslighting himself. He's got real facts to stand on and has put the work in. For Usyk, if he remains scientific, he remains Usyk. If he has the same reflexes that can execute what he's thinking, then it's probably a clinic, maybe worse than last time could possibly be. Again, it's a big if though. That age thing,
Yeah.
it could matter if you couple just a little bit of reflex diminish, a little bit of punch resistance diminish, and a little bit of focus awry with a steamrolling Dubois, you got an upset.
I'll still be, and it's interesting you're saying about a little bit of those reflect. That's exactly Usyk's game. That's what he relies upon. He's not a knockout puncher. I'm picking him to win this fight because of his advantages in hand speed, foot speed, conditioning, and IQ. I just think he's still better than Daniel Dubois. I remember he used to tell me that but what if Tim Bradley does this against Pacquiao and he does this? He goes, what if Pacquiao's just better? No matter what, you could train as hard as you want. You could do, one fighter is better than the other head to head. I
Mm.
suspect Usyk will still have that. I suspect he'll turn that anger currency and exchange it for focus. He'll allow him to hone in and be that much more lightened in. The gray hairs are starting on Usyk's head, so I do think Dubois will make this a more competitive rematch. Usyk might have to wade through some difficult moments in this fight, might get hurt, especially if Dubois can get going downhill. But I guess my prediction is Dubois makes it a better fight of it. He has some real moments in this rematch, but Usyk still winds up stopping him at the end of it. And
Woo!
that's where that
Stop.
fight comes into play, is in the stoppage at the end. Is once Dubois, because none of these heavyweights, these muscle-bound heavyweights or guys taller than Dubois, that conditioning is a bitch against Usyk, and that the fainting, the mental and physical exhaustion. If you can't get this guy out of there in 7 to 8 rounds, you could almost always expect him to take over in the back half of the fight. And I think he will in this fight, but I think it's going to be a more competitive part two, and the champion might finally start showing signs of age in this fight.
Yeah, that twitchy movement, that constant pressure of just not knowing where the punch might come from, that is mentally exhausting. You're exactly right. Don't become the cat chasing the red dot. Just be the locomotive that is on track no matter where the opponent is going. That is going to be a chess match unto itself. And it's one that it's either going to work for Dubois or, to your point, it's going to be a frustrating night for the kid that's going to be outclassed from top to tail. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm leaning on Dubois. I'm thinking I'm betting on youth. I'm betting on momentum. I'm betting on this being his moment. I'm betting on the next undisputed heavyweight champion, and the first in the four belt era for England is going to be Daniel Dubois. The fact that Tyson Fury couldn't get it done Anthony Joshua couldn't get it done. When we thought maybe even Deontay Wilder for America would get it done, nobody was even considering Daniel Dubois would have a shot to get it done. That's how the boxing gods like to work. This is a storybook for him, for England. And really, it's the one thing I have always leaned on when I really don't know. Father Time.